security environment as the most dangerous I've seen is in 40 years in uniform. And a big portion of that are the cooperation, number one, between the PRC and Russia. Again, in President Xi's words, a relationship that has not been seen in 100 years. And we should listen to him when he speaks. They tell us what they're thinking about. So that cooperation from those two authoritarian nations puts us in a different security environment. So I'm very concerned about that. It's amplified with regard to the DPRK supporting Russian in the form of ballistic missiles and other munitions and capabilities. My sense is this is a way to combat the broadened United States alliances, partnerships with our like-minded allies and partners. This is their counter. But I articulated, we're almost back to the axis of evil when you plug in Iran to this problem set. That set of cooperation is concerning, and it should be concerning to the whole globe.
Shalom, Yashra Allah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to Yehovah like the Akim that are out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, coming at you with just in the news update that these nations are getting ready, man. You know, and the higher up brass, these top military generals, they're speaking on it and have been speaking on it. This is Admiral Aquilino. You know, he was briefing the Congress and the House Committee, I believe, on, you know, their national security threats at the moment. And he mentioned Russia, China, and also Iran, which he called an axis of evil. You know, because, you know, Iran is being one of the countries that was supporting Russia by giving them those kamikaze drones. But I have another video because they forgot to mention North Korea. Because North Korea is going to be a major ally in this World War III. You know, because when fighting starts out, you know, for Taiwan, you know, North Korea and South Korea are going to get it on and popping at the same time as well. Because America cannot cannot spread its resources that far. You know, they'll be spread too thin. Not to mention if they're fighting Iran in the Middle East, so-called, you know, they got a war in Europe with Russia and Ukraine and Belarus and Lithuania and all those countries that Russia still have strong ties in, you know, and then the war in the Pacific, not to mention the island hopping that will be going on, different island battles like in the Philippines and all over the place, just like in World War II again. When we were fighting Japan, it was island per island. But, hey, man, that's only going to go on for so long because this war is going to go nuclear very quickly. You know, so the third woe cometh quickly. You know, and the ultimate third woe is when these missiles start to fly. But I wanted to get these scriptures because what's going on right now is the banner of war is being lifted up. And all these nations that hate America, Babylon, and have been on the receiving end of the judgment from Babylon. They've been messed up. Their country's been getting bombed on. You know, they've been faced economic sanctions. You know, they've been had their natural resources taken away, and the facilities that they do get up and running, they get sabotaged by the United States so that that country can never be self-sustaining. They're always going to have to depend on Babylon the Great, which keeps them in a cycle of debt to the American dollar. You know, so these countries are sick of it, man. But this is Jeremiah 51:27. It says, set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as rough caterpillars. You know, that's talking about a swarm. You know, I always like that saying, the caterpillars, because caterpillars, when you see them on a plant, when they're so-called an infestation, They swarm the plant where you can barely even see the green of the plant because it's covered in caterpillars because they're devouring it, you know, so much. You know, and this is, you know, lifting up that trumpet that call to war. And these are different, listing off different countries in the ancient time that were enemies, you know, of Israel that were getting ready to roll, and this is also prophetic to the different band of nations that are going to come together in these last days against Babylon, and Esau, Edom, the ruler of this world in this time. Verse 28, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, because Russia, being a guard unto them, roughly paraphrasing, is going to be the tip of the spear, the most strongest, nation military wise that is going to be leading the charge against Babylon the Great in the third world woe. The captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion, because, it's not just Russia, it's also in his dominion, meaning, his allied ship, but also, in his immediate land, because the other nations are going to be like one army. Because when you have an ally, it's different armies, but it's going to be like you're all fighting for the same cause. So it's like you're in that same dominion, roughly paraphrasing, in terms of his sphere of influence. And I'm going to play another video. I'm going to play one more video, and then I'm going to get these scriptures, because this war is going to grab different nations and pull them in. And one of those nations that it's pulling in, that could be causing a major, distraction, or a resource pit for the United States to have to help out one of their allies, being the South Koreans. Even though South Korea and North Korea, they're the same nation, divided by Esau. They're both Moabites, but they Esau and his political weaselness got in there and divided the nation in two, and they still technically to war this day. But this is the next video. Like I said, is just going to be explaining the fact of how North Korea could be preparing to make a move here sooner than later. Lord willing, is edifying, and this is from a news clip.
South Korea and the United States. Some experts think it's possible. Kim has ordered his military to prepare for the occupation of South Korea, and is, according to some, engaged in frantic military development. And after South Korea and the United States began the Freedom Shield 24 exercises, designed to deter a North Korean invasion, it only caused Kim to issue more threats of war. The task of North Korean experts has always been to try to separate bluster from real threats. And in the past, it's usually been bluster. Bong Young-shik at the Institute for North Korean Studies in Seoul says it's bluster, meant to undermine the current South Korean government from winning parliamentary elections in April. A disturbing report earlier this year by the respected 38 North website, however, indicates this time Kim may be serious. 38 North reports Kim Jong-un has made a strategic decision to go to war, because the communist government sees a window of opportunity to forcibly reunify the Korean peninsula. If the report is true, Asian expert Gordon Chang believes it would be part of a wider Asian war.
North Korea wouldn't go to war unless it got the approval of both Moscow and Beijing.
That part.
So probably if North Korea were to attack South Korea, it would be in conjunction with China attacking Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, India.
Concerns about North Korea's nuclear program have grown in the past 2 years, as the North has test-launched missiles at a record pace and openly threatened to launch a nuclear attack on the United States. Chang does not necessarily agree that North Korea is preparing for war, but says if it is, the blame falls on the White House for appearing weak.
An important part of this article that I believe is absolutely true, and that is the authors maintain that Kim Jong-un believes that the United States is...
I have to stop this right here, because they say they don't know if North Korea is preparing for war. Motherfucker, they've been preparing for war since the last war ended, man. So hey, the people are in la la land, man. If they don't see plain as day that these people are sick and tired of Babylon's shit, and they are going to, take it to that next level.
in global retreat. and that essentially he can pretty much do what he wants. That is a very dangerous mentality. And this is a thinking that also affects Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. The United States needs to reestablish deterrence because at this moment, the bad actors think that they have a green light.
Kim Jong-un did something very strange a few weeks ago. While touring North Korea's impoverished countryside, he said publicly he's ashamed and sorry for neglecting the economy. It was very uncharacteristic of a leader with a reputation for being ruthless. It could mean Kim finally has a heart, or it could mean he knows a stronger economy will be needed if he's going to fight a war. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Yep. And also another thing that I like that they mentioned in that video is that they are going to be not getting an approval unless Russia and China says okay, because at the same time China is going to be needing to move on, like I say, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, India, right there, the different allies of Babylon that are in their immediate area that they're going to have to take care of. But this is Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because they don't want Babylon to keep going on. They're not going to be able to get bought off for them to say, okay, no more war. You gave us enough money. No, they don't want money. It's past money at this point. America stands for what they want to destroy. What they believe, the so-called elites other side of the spectrum, even though they're controlling both sides of this war so that they can get on and pop in to think that they're going to come out of a destroyed post-nuclear society and be the phoenix coming out the ashes. But that Medes continue, and this is actually talking about, the Russians again, but the point being that, North Korea is going to be a part of those nations that are going to be shooting those nuclear missiles, and that they're not going to be able to get bought off as well. Just to make that point, this scripture is specific to, the Medes, but this also applies to, the North Koreans in this case. This is Isaiah 13 and 18. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children, because when an explosion explodes, when a nuclear missile wall of fire, Judgment Day Sarah Connor grabbing a fence, that explosion did not care if it was melting that little girl on the swing in front of Sarah Connor as she was screaming, melting herself, man. It's killing everything in its path when nuclear missiles and destruction is rolling through. This is 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the golden cup, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, which the Chaldees was a elite city, the Babylonians, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and that is fire and brimstone. It's not as the Most High overthrew the world of Noah by the flood. No, he mentioned an example, Sodom and Gomorrah, fire. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. We're fast forward in the future, post-apocalyptic. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Because this is going to be a nuclear wasteland and a monument to the rest of the world forever. What happens when sin reigns. And the example thereof, if those want to live ungodly afterwards, roughly paraphrasing, is nuclear destruction to the point where you get laid flat, melted by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the nuclear missiles and his chariots. So with that, Lord willing, that this lesson would be edifying, because these war talks are going on, and these nations are getting stirred up, and this is happening more and more every day. There's crazy stuff happening even more and more in the news, man. Crazy judgments are going out. So stay circumspect, stay aware. Again, Lord willing, this was edifying. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.